Hello? Can you guys hear me? Oh, Katya Wright's in the chat. I wonder who that is. All right. So, never done this before. I've been a guest on a few other people's, but I've never done this. So I don't really know what I'm doing. Had some technical difficulties, which is why there's a delay. So yeah. I'm gonna mainly treat this like a video I would do that's not live, because I'm assuming not very many people are gonna be watching it live. So it's more of something for you to find and watch for now, and then maybe eventually it'll turn into that. I got some questions for some people I totally don't know. Hold on. Yeah, see, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm still figuring out stuff. Let me make this bigger. Oh, that's great. Oh man, it's a good thing not many people are going to be watching this at first. Oh my god. Wow. Okay, it's a little bit better. So yeah, I've never done this before. It's the first live stream. Hopefully I can make this a habit, just because if you do happen to follow my channel, oh, hold on, it's a little hot. If you do happen to follow my channel, you probably noticed I haven't put out a video in a while. Definitely not as consistent as I used to be. And that's just because I've had a lot going on. Really busy with work, a lot of family stuff. So I just haven't had time to make as much stuff as I want. And then I kind of realized after doing a couple live streams with some other people about a fan film I made called Mask of Evil, that could be a good way for me to make stuff, just because I think the main deterrent is obviously shooting's part of it, but it's the editing and knowing I'm going to have to edit it, which is a big reason why I haven't done much. So the good thing about a live stream is it's going right now. It's out there. It is what it is. So whatever it happens to be is what you're going to be seeing. And I don't have to worry about it. I just schedule it and start doing it. So I just figured it's a good way for me to start putting stuff out there. But enough about that. I'll get into more at the end for anyone who doesn't follow me or is finding this later after this live stream. I'm here to talk about Halloween fan films, and the one that I made called Mask of Evil, which came out on October 11th. I think I'm kind of forgetting my own release date. I'm here to talk about that and Halloween fan films in general. A few specifically besides Mask of Evil, and a little bit about the franchise, the future of this channel, and fan films in general. And I think to start out, I'm going to play a trailer on here, which there should be links in the description, or I'll edit it to have all this stuff there also. And there's going to be a lot of gaps in between things, so because I just downloaded a software, quickly set this up. I don't know what I'm doing, so I can't quickly get the stuff, so apologize. And I also don't know if what I'm doing is the best way to do things, so that's another thing. All right, let's get this trailer going. See, I'm failing already. I need to set this up better. Where the... Okay, I think it's this one. Alright, so this is going to be the trailer for Mask of Evil, and actually, the people that are here right now, if you could let me know if you could hear this, because again, I don't know if you will be able to. And I don't see the audio jumping, so I don't think you can hear it. That's great. How do I do that? uh, how do I do it? I gotta do that. Audio monitoring. Oh, this is great. Oh boy. Yeah, see, this is it's trial and error. What if I no? What if I change that? Uh, uh, this is great. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. So can you not hear this? Hey, watch me. This is great. That's great. Oh, there it is without the audio. Shit. See, this is why I don't do this. I don't know. That's not what I want. Well, this might be a shorter live stream than I thought, and not what I wanted to do. Oh my god. Input, output. Maybe that's where I'm going wrong here. Hello, hello. Oh, that's not. Oh my god. Well, should be able to hear this, but it's just through the microphone. Alright, well, let's do this again. I don't know if there's a better way to do this again.
Yeah. Could be it.
It's just playing through my speakers and the microphone's picking it up, so. Mask of Evil trailer, here we go. Like Michael Myers?
Oh yeah, could be it.
All right, so that is the trailer for Mask of Evil, and you can see right there, if you happen to actually watch the video, all you got to do is click right there and you can watch the full film. So, without further ado, since there's a long pause of me not knowing what I'm doing and fumbling over everything, let's talk about Mask of Evil a little bit. Thank you. Brian's VCR tape recording. Okay. Here we go. Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. So, what can I do here? Maybe I'll just do that. Oh my God. I don't know how to work this stuff. So, Mask of Evil. It's a Halloween fan film. It's what makes it unique, before I get into anything, is that, as far as I can tell from what I've seen, other fan films have not taken this route with the story, and definitely not in the franchise. And essentially, the thing with Mask of Evil is Michael Myers, the Shape, is on the hunt for his original mask of evil, the clown mask that he wore when he was a kid, and he committed his first murder and killed his sister. So if you've watched Halloween 1978, the original, he exits the house, his parents show up, take his mask off, and then he's committed after that. And then you never see that mask ever again in the franchise, or sometimes it'll pop up in fan films as like a cameo, or maybe maybe there is a cameo of it in the franchise somewhere. I don't know. But as far as it being involved in the story, that's yeah, as far as I can tell, it's never been done. Especially in the franchise. So that's what makes Mask of Evil unique, is that he's on the lookout for it. And it brings him all the way to the desert in Arizona, which is a setting he's also never been in. You know, whether those two things are good or bad on his face, you could argue. But I think me and Cole Gray, who is my collaborator on this, he played Michael Myers and a character called Dean. We do everything together. He has a comedy channel called Cole Gray Comedy, so if you want to laugh, go look at that. He's the funniest guy I know. But the terms of what I do with him, or what he does with me, it's usually involved with sci-fi, horror, action, and he's a great writer as well. And he came up with that whole idea that what Michael Myers is doing in Arizona is looking for his original mask, the clown mask. When I was coming up with the, I guess, desire to do it, I didn't know. Obviously, I live in Arizona, so I'm in the desert. Kind of needed a reason to explain that, or I guess I could have just had him be there. But I didn't know what the reason would be, like I didn't know what his motivation would be, because that's a problem with a lot of fan films. It's just him killing people with no real point, which is fine. You know, you don't a group of fans get together just to do something for fun, because it is really fun to do, and they just dress up as Michael Myers and kill their friends. I don't blame them. You know, it's fun to make it. It's up to now, it's been the best filmmaking experience I've had. It was really fun to do. But if you want to look at it at a higher level, quality wise and story wise, most fan films, there is no point. He's just killing people. Some of them will continue the story of the franchise, whether that's the last three, the David Gordon Green trilogy, or they'll just pick a film and continue it off of there. Or, you know, they'll kind of do what the franchise has done with certain films and ignore some sequels and make their own version of it, which is cool. That's more original, at least, because they're forging their own path with an actual point. But again, as far as I've seen, and by the way, I've collected what I think is the biggest collection of Halloween fan film content on YouTube in a playlist, which I'll also link. There's like 578 videos or something. And yes, it was kind of painstaking to do that, because it's not exactly, you know, just checking a bunch of boxes and hit save. It's literally like one by one going to them. So anytime I see something, I'll save it to this playlist. And it's just called Halloween Fan Films, hashtag Halloween franchise. And again, I'll link that. If you want to go through that, there's literally almost 600 videos of, not all of them are filmed. Some of them are, you know, whatever, trailers, clips, interviews, or music videos even. But yeah, 570 something things of content on it. So it's, oh boy, I just lost my train of thought here. Yeah, so most of them aren't original. There are some very high quality ones out there, and I'll give some shout outs. One that released a week before mine, Halloween Stocks 2, or now it's called Stocks 2. And that was made by Dominique Cousineau Benoit, or something like that. His name's Dominic, his first name. I know that. And I've actually talked to him a little bit through something that happened to both of our films, which I'll get into a little bit. But his film is really good. It's kind of a hybrid. It lives in like a gray space, kind of like a movie like Alien Romulus, where it's not really a sequel, it's not a prequel. It lives in like a gray space where they just found a space in the timeline and fit the movie in there. That's kind of what his film does. It doesn't really continue the storyline, and it's not just Michael Myers killing people. There's a point to it, and it's a sequel to one he already made. Mind me asking the runtime of Mass Evil. It's 15 minutes and 40 seconds, so basically 16 minutes. It might already be, let me see. Yeah, it's already linked in the description of this live stream. Plus, if you search it, I'm sure it'll come up. Yeah, the runtime, I wasn't really trying to hit anything specific, and actually the script was kind of just like a guideline, because when we were shooting it, I don't know, it was literally a guideline. I wasn't following it too closely. I knew in my head what I wanted, and some of the things on the fly we were changing, and I reshot one of the scenes that I didn't like, and the scene at the end wasn't in the script. That was added after the fact, because I just realized, you'll notice like it kind of ends, the title comes up, and then it starts again, and before the title comes up, that's actually a good spot to end the film, I thought. But I knew I just wanted something more after that, and I don't know, that's another thing that just kind of popped in my head, that should be done, and I think it turned out really good, and it helped kind of seal the deal on the whole thing of him looking for his original mask, because you actually see him wearing it, and like a scene after the film ends, and super special cameo by anyone who's a fan of the franchise, or has seen, you know, two of them at least, will know who it is instantly. and that was also really cool to do. But aside from Stocks 2, which is really good, uh, what else? I know there's two coming out that aren't out yet. The Haddonfield Nightmare Part 1, I think, and Halloween Aftermath. Both also look really good. And those are fan films that follow the story of the franchise. Halloween Aftermath is after Kills or Ends. I don't remember which one. And the Haddonfield Nightmare follows Halloween H2O, and they make their own version of it. And they somehow found the perfect like clone of Josh Hartnett of what he could have looked like when he got older. It's really weird. They got lucky with that. I don't know if that guy was local or if they put him in or whatever, or casted him and he came out kind of thing. But yeah, Mask of Evil is out already. It came out on the 11th. What else? Oh, yeah, and speaking of those films, assuming I do continue to do this, which I do want to try, obviously, you're not just wasting your time if you find this and want to keep watching. I want to get Dominic. I think he'll want to do it because we have talked a little bit and showed support to each other, and I'm pretty sure he'd want to, or I could get him to come on here and we both talk about our films and what happened with them. I don't want to actually like linger on that part too much. We can just talk about our films and future projects and just more stuff about our films. And then I have talked a little bit to the Coleman brothers who made the Halloween Inferno series, and they just put out a part 5, which was just like a quick thing, I guess, that they did on a weekend, which is also really great. Their Inferno series was really well made also. And I've talked a little bit also to the guy who made the Haddonfield Nightmare. And that's awesome, Brian. Yeah, well, I know any filmmaker who has people watching their stuff, they all appreciate anybody who does that and shows support. All you got to do to show support is just watch it, and that's that's all we could hope for and ask of anybody. Yeah, I mean, it really does mean a lot because as much as people or filmmakers might want to say like, I made this for me and whatever. I mean, I guess I could say that to an extent, but of course you want people to watch it. Like, if no one watches it, it doesn't really matter. And then some people, or I guess where you could say about that is, if no one was watching it, would that like kill your vibe and you would want to stop doing it? In my case, no, because it's the act of creating it. I like watching it and seeing how it comes together. If I literally did that, nobody ever watched it, and it was just me, I still would do it. But like, of course, you want people to watch it and like it, especially like it. If you keep making stuff and everyone hates it every time, I don't know. That sounds like kind of torture. So, yeah, I'm never gonna stop. I know that. So I'm gonna try to do that. I'm sure, like I said, at least Dominic would do it, and that would be a really great episode. And also, Cole Gray, who I mentioned, my collaborator on this, I think it'd be cool to get him to come on, and I don't know, we could do like a commentary thing and watch the film. And he's not really the kind of guy that likes to do this kind of stuff, but I'm sure I can pull his leg and get him to come on. See, I'm getting episode ideas already. And of course, I could just get on here and talk about a specific movie topic, and so expect a lot more of that, because I'm pretty sure I am going to do that. And speaking of that, if you watched or have watched anything on my channel, or you do after this, what I kind of transitioned it to, because you might notice like some of my videos are all over the place, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do with this YouTube channel other than create stuff. I started doing movie explorations. I call it MBW Movie Explorer, and I've done 3 movies so far. My last one was on Prometheus, which was like 41 minutes or something like that. And those I really like to do. And again, with those, what makes those different compared to other people that talk about movies on YouTube is I first of all, it's not a review. I'm talking about the movie at a deeper level. Part of it you could maybe argue is a review, but for the most part, I'm talking about it on a deeper level. And then I start every exploration with a movie parody skit at the very beginning, and which is those are really fun to make also. And my last one, Prometheus, I know it's the best one I've done. I think it's the most well made, in depth, and that's just a movie I could do one of these live streams on and talk about for an hour. It's a movie I really love, although I know it's really flawed, and that's basically what I talk about in that video. And the problem with doing those is they take forever. It's a lot of work to do that, which is why I haven't done one in a while. I did want to do one on Halloween, but specifically before Halloween on the 31st. We'll see if I can manage to do that. I don't know. Probably not. But I would do that at some point. It wasn't going to be my next one, but just because of October, I thought, hey, that'd be a good idea to do. So if I can find some miracle to do that, maybe I will. But so it's another thing I do on this channel, movie explorations, and little skits every once in a while. But my other channel, MBW Films, which Mask of Evil is on, that's where I put any film that I actually make. So Mask of Evil was something that like I said before, I didn't, or maybe I didn't, I'm kind of in my head. I wasn't planning on making a fan film. I never thought I would make a fan film. It just kind of, I was in between film projects, and October was coming up, and where I live, there's like a Halloween festival. They close down downtown, and basically the whole town goes there to trick or treat, and everyone dresses up, not just the kids. And it's actually really cool. And the combination of that, and at the time I had started to watch a couple Halloween fan films, just because I was seeing them on YouTube, which I hope happens with my film to other people. And just the combination of that, and I don't know, I thought I should do it. It seemed like fun to do, and the more I started thinking about it and getting ready for it, the more in love with the idea I was. And then when me and Cole started spitballing, and I started getting the mask, yeah, the rest is history. And speaking of the mask, you can see it back there, the mask used in the film, which I moved in here, but he's actually stalking outside of my house this whole month. I rehauled that myself, which is another thing I was looking into, mask rehauls. The base is a Trick or Treat Studios 78 mask, and then I repainted it, rehaired the hairline, and modified the eye holes and stuff. Turned out pretty good. There's way better ones out there by people that actually know what they're doing, but I think it turned out pretty good. Definitely better than just buying it off Spirit Halloween. Yeah, so fan films in general, I think there's actually a surprising amount of people that really enjoy fan films. Like, not just like, oh yeah, fan films, I've seen some good ones, that like seek them out, watch them every Halloween in October. And so those people, they already know the answer to this question, but other people might think like, well, what's the point of making a fan film? Like, just watch the actual franchise movies. Why would you waste your time doing that? Or make your own original movie? Which, yeah, there is an argument to that, but I think the point to making a fan film is to, well, I guess another subcategory is, well, that's cool. Yeah, That's definitely one of the greatest ever made, and they sure raised a lot of money to make sure that the Never Hike Alone series, which they look great, they're amazing for Friday the 13th. Um, but yeah, the making a fan film, obviously it's a fan film, like you're a fan of the franchise, so you want to express that and make your own version of it. But I think part of it is like sometimes fans will get frustrated. I know I have, on the way that the franchise has gone, and they're just like, no, why'd you do that? You should have done this, or what about this? And they just get so frustrated, and they're also, if they happen to make a good one, that means they're also a filmmaker. They happen to be a filmmaker. They put those two together and they make their own version, which oftentimes, well, there's a lot of the good fan films. You see people comment like, why can't they do that in the franchise? Or how does someone who, a nobody who made it between $0 and $15,000 make something that kicks the franchise's ass in terms of what people want to see? And so there you go. And you would think the studio might learn something from that and take a closer look at fan films instead of, the way that they treat them now, which I'll also get into a little bit. But of course, there's also people that strictly do it because they're like, oh, this might get a lot of views, and I'm gonna do it to get noticed or whatever. And honestly, I think if anyone who's an actual filmmaker makes one, whether it's their first film or not, but like there's a difference between a filmmaker and someone who makes a movie. A small part of them, whether they want to admit it or not, is doing it to get noticed and to get views or whatever. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, honestly, as long as you're not taking too much advantage of that, selling it. I don't know. Taking too much, you can argue what's too much. But most of the people that I've seen or talked to, listened to, again, a small part of them is that's there, but they also just love the franchise. They want to see what they're making, and they're not seeing it, so they have to make it. And I definitely am a combination of those because the last three, the David Gordon Green, I was gonna make a lame joke, but I don't like his three Halloween fan film or his three Halloween films. The 2018 one, overall, it was all right. A 6 out of 10 maybe. It's better than. Actually, you know what? It's not. I'd rather watch 1 through 6 or 7, 1 through 7 any day of the week over that one. But I didn't feel like I wasted my time or money watching it. I just wasn't happy with it. Specifically, I'll just say 2 moments because this video isn't entirely about that. But if you've seen that film, there's a part where, first of all, there's 2 podcasters in it that are obsessed with him. They get his mask. They want to go see him in the insane asylum. It's stupid. That whole setup was dumb. But they go see him. The guy holds up the mask and, do you feel its power, Michael? You do, don't you? Like, it's just was so stupid. I hated that. Absolutely hated that. And then when he breaks out, which of course he's going to, one of the people he kills in like a bathroom stall, he like rips somebody's teeth out and drops them, and just like stuff like that was just so, to me, that's not Michael Myers. That's not what he does. That's someone like a deranged Michael Myers is kind of partly supernatural and like, black, shapeless evil. So there's like a supernatural element to that, and the fact that he never dies. But pulling someone's teeth out and dropping one, that just seems like a deranged, true to life serial killer or psycho would do. Like, that's not something Michael Myers would do, because that's like too flashy, and I don't know. That just that's something that should be in a Rob Zombie movie, and I'm surprised that he didn't do that in his Halloween movies. Of course, they're well made. The mask looks awesome. I absolutely hated Halloween Kills and Ends. I think Kills was even worse, surprisingly, because what they do and Ends with the Corey Cunningham or whatever. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. But Kills, I don't know. Just so many dumb things in that. But this video isn't about that. I would love to talk about all 3 of those films in a different one. But God, I hated those, which is kind of funny with fan films that do that because I'm like, if you want to make a fan film that's better than a franchise, like that's a trilogy to do it with because it's not hard. It's not hard to top those films, and which is what the Halloween Inferno series did, and they also hated that trilogy, and I'm assuming the Aftermath one will be even better than that. God, now I'm just depressed thinking about what they did to that franchise, and now they're gonna do a TV show, which maybe it actually could be good. I don't know. Yeah, fan films. They're the good thing about them is that people do actually want to see them, and there is something cool about that. Watching people make something that they're not in the system; they're just normal people making a film, and it's kind of amazing how good that they can make them when they don't have a lot of resources. And speaking of resources, that's another thing about Mask of Evil specifically. Had zero budget, zero crew, zero everything. I'm sure a lot of other fan films are like that, but the difference is, I think objectively, Mask of Evil is well made. It's original, whether you like that idea or not. It's at least original. I think you can admit to that, and I can objectively look at it and say, with zero budget, it looks damn good. And part of that is that Halloween festival. To do that, to get extras and production design and all that kind of stuff, it would have been unobtainable for most indie people just to get that same setup with if you were actually paying for all that. And that's obviously the benefit of indie filmmaking and being at this level, because a studio couldn't get away with doing that. They would get sued and all kinds of things. They couldn't do that without permits and paying people and extras and whatever, getting waivers, and don't have to worry about that at this level. So yeah, my film Mask of Evil had no budget up until the end, when I had to, which I guess will segue into what happened in the film the first time around. I had to pay to have a score made for it, which was actually a really great thing to happen, because it's the best version that the film could be with this original score. I really love what White Bat Audio, Carl Casey, who I had make it, did for it. Absolutely incredible work. I actually can't wait to make the next thing that I would want to spend money on a score for, because I just love that guy's work. Even before he made that, like just his normal tracks that he makes. But yeah, I just think that there's something to be said about that, because a lot of the good fan films that are out there, yeah, exactly, they're tailored fit, and 98% of fan films, they just recycle the score of the franchise, which I don't blame them. I did that the first time around with Mask of Evil, and it's awesome, because you're like, that's part of kind of the thrill of it, because you film whatever you film, you edit it, and then you add that music, that iconic music, and it's cool. It's because you get to see what your vision of it, with the iconic Halloween theme and all the other score elements. But yeah, it's being tailored fit is always better, because it's just transitions are better. It flows a lot better, and it's original. But yeah, I think there's something to be said about having something, a certain quality level, and what you can pull off with zero budget, compared to something that, yeah, looks great, but what was the budget? What did they spend on it? And I can say that about a lot of the other fan films that are really good. I'm not trying to like belittle them or something, but that has to mean something when you know somebody spent, let's say, 15,000-20,000 on their film, had a full crew, had RE Alexa cameras, which, if you know anything about cameras, it's a very expensive cinema camera. They range from like 30 grand to like 100 grand, plus lenses, lighting packages, all this stuff. When you spend that kind of money, yeah, especially if you get a good DP, it's going to look awesome. And uh, I've seen really great looking fan films that I think do look better than mine in terms of just the look, the lighting, and yeah. But it's like that's what money gets you. It's the extra 5% that you're missing that you just can't get without that, unless you happen to own all that gear for some reason. Um, so yeah, and then it makes it even worse if you make something, spend a lot of money, and it's still terrible, because then it's like, well, wow, you spend all that and that's what you got. Okay. But I will say most fan films that do spend money like that, they do actually turn out pretty good, whether they're original or not. But another thing is some of these fan films, the high quality ones that have budgets, they raise money, which is kind of a weird thing, because I guess this will segue into what happened to the first release of Mask of Evil, which it got taken down. It actually came out in April, and a few other films, including Halloween Stocks 2, got taken down by the studio. And where's I going with that with the budget? Oh my god, this is where I got to work on. Is I get lost in what I'm talking about. Um, oh, okay. With the budgets in the studio. So I'm gonna have to uh, run back to that. So what happened with Mask of Evil and a few other fan films in April was that it got hit with a copyright strike. And yeah, what you're talking about, Brian, essentially that's kind of what happened, although it wasn't just the score, but that's what the studio used to take down Mask of Evil, Halloween Stocks 2, Halloween Inferno, the Boogeyman cut, which is like all their parts in one film, which had over 1 million views. And I think there was like one or two other ones that got taken down. Which is how I got into contact with all those guys, because our films got taken down, and then we just kind of banded together and, hey, what's going on? Why did this happen? And so as a result of that, I actually emailed them. I didn't think they'd ever respond, but they did respond. And I ended up talking to someone that was a high-level person at the studio. It's a small studio, so it's not like 300 people. Or I don't know how many people work there, but it's just a small studio. All they do is Halloween, essentially, and licensing it out and whatever. But they actually responded, and I actually spoke on the phone with this person about it, which they were just rehashing what they said on the email. But the fact that they took the time, first of all, to respond, and then also a phone call, it did mean something, and that's why they did it. They didn't want to just do what they did and ignore it, which I do give them credit for that, because that's what I was fully expecting them to do. But as far as their reasoning for it, yeah, I don't agree with it. It just doesn't make sense. And I think part of it was the TV show that's coming out. They probably had outside pressure, because one of the things he had mentioned to me was it came across somebody's desk, essentially. So it got noticed, which is, yeah, that's great. That's what you want, right? Well, not in this case. And they just thought it took certain things too far. And I guess they'd seen it on Twitter or X or whatever. I don't know. It rubbed somebody the wrong way, and they said, do something about it. And the guy that I was talking to is the person who would do something about it. So they struck my film down and a couple other ones. And he gave me some kind of bullet points, but he wouldn't tell me specifically what, because they said anything they said in that regard would be an endorsement, and they don't want to do that to any film. But he did say that they're not against fan films. They just, if you go too far, they're not cool with it. And he did mention some things which, the words he used, it's kind of funny, because it's exactly what my film was. It's just, that's kind of a compliment, because it didn't appear that way. But he said if you're making something that doesn't look like it was just a couple friends on a weekend, you're starting to go too far. Like something you just made with your friends on a weekend, not pouring money into it, equipment, crew, and everything, which is exactly what I did. There's other fan films that aren't doing that, that didn't do that. The two that are impending, that are coming out, absolutely. uh, they raised money, they had crews. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but according to what they're not okay with, not that I want anything to happen to any other fan film. It's the logic that they have that just doesn't make sense. In reality, they have full power to strike any one of them down at any moment, including mine, again, if they wanted to. It is what it is. They have the full power in this situation. It just doesn't serve them to do that. I don't know why they did that in the first place. The only thing I can say is two positive things came out of it. I actually spoke to someone at that studio, which is kind of cool on its face, and the film's even better now. So I guess I can thank them in a way that they did do that. But yeah, their logic doesn't make sense. And what he was telling me, I literally had the perfect counter to it. All of the reasonings he was giving. And the score was part of it. It was too many check boxes that they did. It had too many check boxes, essentially. It wasn't any one thing. So the score was part of it, but it wasn't the only thing. So what I changed is it's all original score. I didn't use anything from the franchise, and in terms of what the studio owns, and I changed the title because them saying like Halloween, Mask of Evil, and that getting spread out when it's not something they did wasn't cool, which is funny because, again, 90% of fan films, that's what they do, but it is what it is. And I trimmed some things, I added some stuff, and that's basically it. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but essentially the two main changes were the score and the title. Although when I say I add and took away, which I did, I added more than I took away because I think I made it about 30 seconds longer. And again, I think the film's the best version that it could be right now, so that's the main positive to that. And I don't want to harp on it too long. Maybe if I do an episode with Dominic or any of the other guys, we could talk about it more, but I just kind of want to move past it because, again, I have no power in it. I could sit here and cry all day long about it or complain. It won't change anything. I have no power in the situation. Really, the only ones that could make a difference is, like a huge fan outcry that could actually shift their opinion or things that they might do. Jesus, what are we at right now? 52 minutes. Well, again, this is the first live stream I've done. Still figuring things out. I honestly didn't even have a huge plan on this live stream on what I was going to talk about. Just winged it, which is why there's, I'm saying or there's dead spots, whatever, and the technical difficulties at the beginning. But that's all going to grow and change and get better. So don't let that hold you back. And I do appreciate you, Brian's VCR tape recordings, because you're here and you're watching. Oh, man. Well, I don't want this to probably be longer than an hour when I'm still fixing or figuring out what I'm doing. So a couple minutes left here. I was going to talk about more or show more. Maybe I'll just do that. I was going to show the trailer to Halloween Stocks too. I'll get that ready and I'll play that in a little bit. But will I consider doing more fan films? Actually, it was before I knew what had happened to my film and it being taken down. I was already working on a sequel. Thought I had a great idea for one. I was excited to do it. And then that happened. That totally changed. At this point, I don't think I'll do another one. At least not Halloween. And honestly, I'm kind of like left a bad taste in my mouth to do another one, but I made this, like I said, as a wild hair, so that hair could strike again. So I won't say I won't ever do one, but it's unlikely. But I did kind of decide that I wanted that same energy that I was wanting to make a sequel, that same excitement. Instead, I'm just gonna do an original slasher, almost like a almost like I made a Halloween fan film. It's just completely original. Like I don't use Michael Myers, anything from the franchise. In spirit, it's a fan film, but it's completely original. I kind of was thinking about doing something like that, and I had some ideas I really liked. And the sequel, I wanted it to be bigger. I wanted to actually put money into it. Crew, I don't really care about, just whatever I needed. I did want to have a DP, and just have more actors and characters. So I would just do that same thing with an original slasher. So I think that's what I'm going to do with that. And then I have a bunch of films in the works. The absolute next thing I'm going to do is a sci-fi short, which I don't really want to get into too much detail, but it's a pretty simple setup, and it has to do with different dimensions. I guess I'll say that. And after that, I have something called, which this is a tentative title, it could change. An arrival of a good beer, logline. A 6-pack of beer arrives on a do-well dad's doorstep, assigned to live a little, or something more. And that is a film I don't want to get into too much detail about, because that's something you should go into blind, because it's the only thing I'll say about it is it's a horror film, maybe mixed with a little bit of sci-fi or fantasy. And it's Evil Dead-esque, so I'll just leave it at that. Imagine Evil Dead with what I just said. That's kind of what it'll be like, over the top. And before Mask of Evil, I made a film called Duendes, which is a Latin American folklore. It's basically like a forest goblin creature. If you're in that culture, you probably are aware of it, but most people don't. And it's just kind of a weird folklore, if you read into it. And I made a horror film on it. It's about 8 minutes long, and I want to make a sequel to that and make it on a bigger scale. And I got even more after that, but I'll leave it at 3 for now. I'll get into more detail after that. But yeah, absolute next thing, sci-fi short. I'd assume it'd be between 5 and 8 minutes. Nothing too crazy. Then obviously I want to do more of these. I don't know. The schedule could change, or it could be every Sunday. I don't know. Hopefully I can get some people on here. And yeah, and I will also still be doing movie explorations when I can find the time. Maybe it's this month. I don't know. And yeah, I guess I would just say, to close, if you do happen to, anybody that's watching now, and anybody that happens to find this video, I appreciate you watching. I have much more to come. In the future, it'll get much more organized, less dead space, and I still don't even know what I'm doing. Oh wait, let's watch this Halloween Stocks 2 trailer before I forget.
Mom, is the boogeyman real?
Listen to me. There's no such thing as the boogeyman.
William, honey? There's someone in the house. We can't stay here. We have to go now.
March 15th. That's odd considering it came out October 4th. Huh, I wonder why that is. So, get back to here. That's not the right one. So I just wanted to say about that, obviously, if you can look at that, looks really good, because it does. Part of that is because he used a really good DP who shot it on an Arri Alexa camera, which is a very awesome, expensive camera. So the guy knows what he's doing with lighting, and which honestly I don't really. I just kind of wing it, and I don't really want to be good at that. Like, that's not what that's the thing, is like, I don't want to know how to do that. I'm not a DP. Videographer, sure, I know how to get the shots I want, which is part of being a director, but in terms of like the lighting, that's not what I'm into. I don't want to be responsible for that. I just do it because I have no choice, and because of that, it's not as good as it could be, and I freely admit that. So when you get someone who's an artist at doing that, you get a film that looks like that, really good. Also, the mask he got looks amazing. If you notice, there's the accent of that actress. It's because he's from Canada. He shot it in, I think, Montreal or Quebec, the French side of Canada. And yeah, he seems like a great guy. I've briefly spoken to him. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get him on the show, and we can talk about our films. And his film, like I said, it's really well made. It's a good fan film. It's one of the best ones, aside from mine, that I've seen. I actually, I guess this is part of fan films. Like, you see a really good fan film, and you're like, oh man, I want to see the next thing that they do. And you're kind of curious, like, what's their original stuff look like? He's a perfect example of that. I want to see, an original film that he makes. And yeah, so that's fan film service for you. And I guess quickly I'll say my films generally have no budget, no crew, and there's positive and negatives to that. Obviously, I don't have to rely on other people. I just go there and make it, but at the same time, it's limiting. And most of my films are like that. I've really only made one film called Amercon, which is a sci-fi film. You can find it on my channel, my film channel. That one had a crew, but most of my stuff I do doesn't. And pros and cons. But ultimately, doing that route, stuff just takes longer. You need money, especially at this level. People are less likely to do it for free. So this is what it is. But yeah, Halloween Night, Brian, I don't think I've watched that full one, because there's just so many but I'll I'll check that one out. I think I might have seen a little bit of it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't watch the full thing. So yeah, what's the point of fan films? Well, fans that love whatever they're a fan of, in this case Halloween, they're expressing their love and making a film. Oftentimes it's even better if it's a well-made one than what the franchise offers. That's the point of fan films. And they're, like, if they're really well made, and if they offer something you haven't seen before, probably one in the franchise, Mask of Evil, they're really enjoyable. You see something that takes, layers and layers and layers of stuff to get through in the studio system, which stuff gets lost. There's scripts that, plenty of Halloween scripts have been written that just never get made, that were, the studio owns them or whatever. So this is, fan films give you the opportunity to just put something on the screen that you probably won't see, or, in advance of what you would see. So that's why they're really cool. It's just, you're cutting through all the red tape just to make something you want to see, and fans are doing that without anybody telling them they can or can't. They're just doing it. And as someone who's made them, they're really fun to do. It's just, you're playing with an iconic character, and it's just a lot of fun. You would think that, like, oh, well, isn't it, if it's not original, wouldn't it be more fun to make something original? Again, there's pros and cons, positives, or reasons why it is and isn't, but there's something really fun about playing in a sandbox that's established already, and you're kind of the god of it, if you will. even though that technically is limiting. It's a really fun experience. So there you go. Again, I apologize if never done it before. A lot of dead space. It'll get better. That's what I can say. So having said that, I don't even know if I fully said what I want to do in this live stream. Like I said, I winged it. Don't know what I'm doing. Still figuring stuff out. Overall, if you tuned in, if you find this later, thank you. I really appreciate it. A lot more is coming. If you haven't already seen Mask of Evil, watch it if you want to. If you're a fan of the franchise or fan films, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't. Check it out and then share it. Like, comment on the video, and then share it to other people that you think would like it. That would be amazing. Go ahead and do that to all fan films. I think we would all appreciate that. Yeah, Scream Legacy, I have heard of that one. This is just Halloween. There's all kinds of franchises where there's fan films. Scream, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. You name it. There's a fan film community for it. Yeah. I think that is going to be it for now. And again, thanks for tuning in. You can definitely expect more to come in terms of live streams. Pretty sure it's going to be Sunday, but just stay tuned. I'll let you know if it's not going to be. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Well, I thank you. I really appreciate that. And I hope you like it. Definitely comment what you think about it in the actual video comments. Besides the fact that I'd love to see what you think about it, it really helps the video. And then also if you have friends or whatever, again, go ahead and share it with them. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. All right. This is really going to be it now. Bye.